A very good day to you. Welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadel Kibra. I'm excited that you've joined us for a political conversation. These conversations are simple, truthful. Prof puts them across in a hard-hitting way. He's here with me. How are you doing today?
Fine, Judge.
You know, people are saying you spoke about the military regalia that Raila might introduce. And then we saw young men in the rally in Kibra, and they had military regalia. He started a movement now. And I don't know what you think about that first. Did you advise him? Did he listen to you? And that's how
I'm not
he
Raila's
started?
advisor. How many times will I say this? And, you know, many people have told me, some even warning me that this is dangerous. But I've not told them to do that. But this is common. Even Jubilee in 2017, didn't I see Kenan Waiguru and Beatrice Elaki and the rest having your berets and military regalia? This is normal. Anyway, there's an election.
But how dangerous?
You see Bobby Wine with his berets and these are simple things.
Is it dangerous when you see young men now being dubbed?
The situation is already dangerous. They cannot get any worse. It's already bad. Yeah. So uniform or no uniform, the situation is just bad.
Things are bad.
Yeah.
Do you think Ruto sees it? Because it's as if I usually say this, as if things are normal, and now we have this movement by Raila Odinga. It's no longer about Azimio, and maybe you'll tell me if Azimio still holds. It's now a movement. Should Ruto notice this and do something about it? What's your thought on it?
There is only one thing to do. And I've said this so many times, I'm beginning to get annoyed. Let Ruto look out for Raila and they sit down over a cup of tea. This is their country. All this, they have children in this country and they have grandchildren. That's all that matters. This is their country, the country for their children and their grandchildren and thereafter. Where this country has reached today, for us to lose a country may not take much. Yes. And therefore, is there a sacrifice so big one can't make to hold the country together? I cannot imagine of a sacrifice that is too big to make sure there is a country for your children tomorrow. I can't think of one. If Ruto can see one and Raila, me, I'm not seeing one. And therefore, the only way out is for these people to sit down. There is a lot of common ground. The things that divide people, they are not as many as we may imagine. The things that bind people together are much more than those that divide people. If Ruto sits down with Raila, they will find there's so much common ground which they can clear and the country moves forward.
If Ruto perhaps believes that he won the elections fair and square, if he believes that, and Raila believes he won the elections, what might bring them together if Raila is not willing to accept first that Ruto won the
They
elections?
can do what we used to do pre-Second World War, where the world was, where people settled issues physically. Yeah. That's how it used to be.
Can't believe you're saying that.
I mean, that's what people used to do.
Yeah.
I want to be, and I'm very categorical. I'm saying the pre-war period, perhaps up to and including 1945, beyond which man and humanity has seen the need to sit down whenever there are issues. Yes. So that issues are not resolved using force. But if they think they want to be Precambrian, I used to hear there was a rock called Precambrian. If they want to be primitive, and I'm sorry because I'm talking about serious leaders of this country. If they want to be people who are not sensible, if they want to close their eyes and refuse to see the obvious, then they can do that way. Let them go. Let each one of them think they are clever. Let them go head on and let's see whether they will have a country.
For people who say we are used to Raila, for people who say, and I've watched our videos and say, like last time you said, I asked you whether you're exaggerating that people can't guard Raila. Is Raila now a more dangerous Raila than he was before? Because now he's in Kibra, he's heading to Machakos. How would you gauge the Raila that is now compared to the Raila that was there
I've
before?
said this before. I've said, let me give you the context. And this context is important. I know some people listen to my videos, including guys from the intelligence. So this context is important. Kenya struggled to remain a country, a nation after independence. Because the usual things that dogged all other independent countries that sent people into fighting, into chaos, into military coups and what have you, also affected us. But we were able to manage. We struggled on, then Moi came to power. He started well, then he became a dictator. People fought Moi. People were detained. People died. Many things happened. Then we got multi-party. We thought with the multi-party now we are okay. Then after two of them, 92 and 97, we realized no, it was not working. Then in 2002, we did it through mass action, a mass movement, Rainbow, and we got what we thought we were getting. In 2007, however, we went back. Kibaki messed us and returned us back where we are. Instead of making progress, we retrogressed. So we almost burnt the country. But we were in time to check it, to check ourselves. And no, hold, put on the brakes. This country is burning. So what did we do? We then came up with our constitution in 2010 to address the things that almost sent us to the sea, the bottom of the sea. And we created institutions, Supreme Court, independent police, independent this and the other, commissions. 2013, we put them to test. They were found wanting, beginning with the Supreme Court. 2017, they were found wanting. We thought by 2022, because of BBI and the handshake, for the first time we are going to get it right. We didn't get it right. So what has happened now? And I'm sorry to have taken so much time. What has happened is, we have created a situation where a big chunk of the country has lost hope. And man minus hope is an animal. It's an animal. And they will do things which animals do. Once you remove hope from a person, even your own child in your house, once there is no hope, man is an animal. So Kenyans are in that state of animalness. And that's what Raila and Uhuru must know, and Ruto must know. That's where some good number of Kenyans are. They have no hope that you can go into an election. 2,000 people didn't vote in 2013 are here. I think 4,000 didn't vote in 2017. This time 80,000 didn't vote. Who knows how many will not vote next election? What does that tell you? People have given up. And this is a dangerous state for a country to be in. Now, if somebody goes to these people the way Raila is going to them and fires them, then you have no country. You absolutely have no country.
Would you agree that Ruto is at least doing something with trying to get leaders from different parts of the region in his government? Remember when he went to Siaya, leaders were there with him, and the western side leaders are there. Mudavadi representing the western side, and you look at Kalonzo Musyoka in this other side saying they're leaving me, they're leaving Azimio, they don't know where they're going to. Don't you think he's still trying to quench, to bring hope to the people that this government is inclusive?
That's even worse. Because you are telling people, we can mess, but get your leaders on the table and give them food. It's worse. Oh, really? You are increasing the anger among the people. Now, with this increased anger, Raila has no job. All he has just say, "Aya."
Yeah?
And you'll see. And that's what I'm saying. The more you poach people from Raila, the worse you make the situation. Because now Raila looks more justified to say, look, if this guy was honest, he wants to run the country, why would he make it his preoccupation to poach our leaders? He's poaching so that the people who should question him will keep quiet. And you know why they will keep quiet? They will also be eating. So looks like nobody in this country is caring about you. So you can continue dying. You will stay with your children at home without taking them to school. Your loved ones will die as you watch because your leaders have been bought. The anger goes much, much higher. I don't know who advises our leaders.
Where is the line, though, for these leaders who say we are working with the government?
Which working with the government?
And the leaders that you say they are going to eat what the government gives them. Where is that line? Where is that?
What is working with the government? The Constitution gives legislators very clear roles. Their roles are very clear. None of which is to follow the president and ask for development. In any case, I've said people say times without number. I hate this cliché.
Times without number.
I have said that. That we are giving the president power he doesn't have. Look, maybe Richard will be annoyed I'm entering his line. Everybody is talking about tax exemption.
Yeah.
Tax, pay tax, pay tax, pay tax. Everybody saying pay tax, pay tax. Fine. I want to tell Kenyans, if they care to listen, I want to mention a few families. Philip Ndegwa. Those are big business families. Serious political families. Charles Njonjo. Nyachai. Simon Nyachai. Eh? You see those names?
Yeah.
Kenyatas, Moi. You can't catch them with 1 shilling tax evasion. 1, not 10. 1, you will not get them. They have all the money. And I've said this before, I've even written about it. They have had time to clean their money. Their money is so cleaned. You can't get them with a simple problem of tax. So anybody talking about tax is a fool. They are seeing 100 years ahead. Their tax department is the most functional department. So what are we talking about? Then we are talking about exemptions. And nobody can exempt somebody from paying duty unless there is a law. The people who are shouting today, left finance minister enjoy the powers he had because it's an executive office to exempt people by gazette notice and what have you. The things we are talking about tax now, the people enjoy them by law. Because we allowed an individual to have powers. Today we are doing this, making the same mistake by going to ask Ruto for things over which he has no powers. 10 years from now, we will be questioning the things Ruto did. This country is made up of people who really think.
When you saw Mama Ngina in that podium,
Yes.
in that church, some say daring Ruto, if they
Yes.
have evaded tax, if they have not paid tax, to go after them.
Yes.
What ran through your mind when you saw her do that?
It could be a lady who is hurt. Remember, Mama Ngina has been around since the husband died in 1978. She has never talked. Even when there were excesses of Kanu, she never talked. But for her to come up and talk for the first time in such a manner, I got a little worried for my country. I got a little worried for my country. Things could go south. Because you see again, if you get an old lady like that to come up and defend the family, you are not doing well. But there's also a strategy on the Kenyatas to unleash an old woman on you. But again, credit to Ruto. He's always outsmarting these guys. Always. I don't understand. I even see Azimio, Raila Odinga, they have communication people, strategies. These are useless people. Ruto has outsmarted them.
How so in this context?
In 2019, I said the 2022 game will be won or lost on narratives. The person with the best story, told by the best storyteller, will carry the day. Whether they will win the election or steal it, but they have the narrative. Ruto carried the day because he beat them 10-0 on narratives, on storytelling. That's why the hustler nonsense. Hustler is nonsense. You can see what is there about hustler. So rubbish. Look at this tax thing now. That's where we are now. Ruto is beating them. He's beating them.
Oh.
Lipa ushuru. Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Lipeni ushuru. This is not animal farm. Everybody will pay tax. They are down. Ruto 10, Azimio 0. Also, what is this they say they have communication?
Is that why Ruto after
They are not even going for the things Ruto himself has done, which we know, and table them. Nahi, you are not the right person to tell us. Tell us about this.
Tell us about this.
Yeah, with facts. They can't even tell people what I'm telling you about exemptions. The finance ministry is an executive ministry, or at least it used to be. I don't know this new constitution. People are given exemptions by law. Why can't they even just go to the tax exemption desk and flash out the year and CBA and NSA when they were merging, when they exempted from 350? Yeah. Why can't they come with a document of how many other persons and bodies were exempted that year? Into billions of shillings. These are useless people. They are making it appear, the government is making it appear, the only person who has been given an exemption is CBA. Why don't you go to the desk there and bring the list of people who are exempted? By law, by gazette notice, by what have you. In that 1 year alone, I'm not talking of the time Uhuru has been president. The year CBA was given 350 exemption,
Yeah.
even if you narrow it to that month alone, go to Treasury. Are these people in the communication department of Azimio so daft they can't get him something like that to show the public?
Daft is dangerous.
No, it's not dangerous. It's what they must be told, because they are making Ruto look like a star. You bring facts also, but you don't bring facts like you are bringing in a classroom. You also you use facts, but you also spin. You offer counter narratives, because 350 in a year when billions of I don't have the facts. All I know that the exemption is an everyday thing. There are categories of people being exempted. The minister has discretional power that by gazette notes or by what anaku exempted to.
Yeah, I remember when
we used to enjoy duty-free taxes, duty-free vehicles for many years. You just take a form, university wanakusainia, you go to Treasury, you come back with a letter, you get your Mercedes.
I remember when we were talking about the 2022 elections, before the announcement of the results, you told Azimio that if they win, they need to make it believable, that they have won. Do you think this is why it is so difficult for them to prove to the people that Ruto, as they claim, rigged elections? Because it is believable.
Even if they had won, to make it believable would have been a problem. In fact, Ruto doesn't seem to be having the legitimacy issues, because we are being told. Legitimacy issues are things you make people feel and touch. Not to be told in a stadium, like 2017. You didn't need to tell people that Uhuru's presidency was not genuine. It was not one genuine. It was not legitimate. People must feel it. So even if they had won, the biggest problem Raila would have had was perhaps to convince people he had won. So the same now. And I keep saying, I don't know what's wrong. Raila's team was the best, measured against PNU.
Yeah.
We used to say brains are residing on the lake. Money is on the mountain. PNU versus ODM. Orange versus banana. Yeah. Those days. How things stand, now the brains are on the mountain and nothing is on the lake apart from fish.
I don't like when you start speaking that way. But what's your general assessment now, moving forward with these Azimio rallies expected in Machakos?
These are dangerous rallies. I must repeat. I am telling Raila and Ruto, these things are dangerous. They should find out what happens in other countries. Let me tell you where the danger is. If this thing went on for about 4-5 more rallies, which is like one or so month, and Raila tried to retract, the people will not follow him. They will continue. That's how dangerous it is. And that's why I insist, even as you spill into the streets or call this mass action or go into rallies, do you have a strategy?
We start talking from there.
You must have a strategy. Because in the absence of a strategy, yes, even Ruto can leave State House. He won't be the first man to leave State House flying in a helicopter. He won't be the first one. People have done it before. Okay. But what comes after that? Have you heard of what has come of Sri Lanka after the people went to you saw them swimming in the palace, the presidential swimming pool? What good has come out of it? We had Sudan, that lady, that famous lady. Yeah. So what have we had before after that?
So maybe Azimio should listen.
Even the rallies, dangerous as they are, there must be a strategy.
So for you, though, the last question, that is for Azimio. Yes. When you go to Ruto's side, the only card he can play is just inviting Raila over. Is that the only card he can play?
The only card Ruto has is to talk to Raila. I've said before, if the country were to collapse today, when history is written, watasema inchi iliporomoka wakati wa Ruto. Hawataongeza Rigathi au Raila. Hiyo itakuwa footnote. That like we used to read during the reign of King so and so.
Yeah.
So during the reign, so history places greater responsibility on Ruto than on Raila to make sure the country doesn't go the wrong way. Number two, I want to repeat this. Modern states are less powerful than society. Society is more powerful than the state. Because in the olden days of the kingdoms and what have you and the old states, the state had power of life and death over the citizens. That is no longer the case. So the power you have is just token. It only works when the state and society and the people are working together in the common interest of all. So that even the police, you can't harass a policeman in this country, people will beat you.
Yeah.
You have seen it happen?
Yeah.
Can you take on a policeman? The policeman wants to book you for an offense, traffic offense. Then you beat him. Will the people allow you? People will beat you instead.
Yeah.
Now, because that is a balanced relations between society and state. But society is more powerful. So, what power would a president have against the people who are revolting? He doesn't have any power.
Yeah.
What will you do to people? If people leave Holt Park and they are saying, heading to your state house, what will you do? It is as simple as class 1 work. So the president must know that power he has is extremely limited. It's negotiated power. And you exercise that power because people know it is in their interest. In the same manner, they will beat somebody beating a policeman. They will defend the government if a group of persons want to play with the government. Even the government and its security forces will do nothing. The people will do it for the government. If some group of crooks think they can come and play around with the Kenyan government, let us say Raila had no cause. He wants to play with the people. The people will defend the government. But so long as there's a sizable number of people, what we call a critical mass of people, who are not happy with what's going on, and they are willing to actualize that through demonstration, you have a very ugly situation which any sensible leader will do everything to avoid.
Okay.
And that is in the context in which you must understand Uhuru's handshake. It is not weakness. In fact, when you do that, you come out very powerful. When the history of this country is written, Uhuru will have very good space because of that handshake.
Now I have to wrap up, but you remind me of the people that Uhuru lost when he joined,
Yes.
when he made this handshake with Raila.
Good things don't always get support. In the good book, the Bible, they say the road to heaven is
It's narrow.
narrow. Is
Narrow.
meaning only a few will make it to heaven. So you want a crowd of crooks and thieves and
But this
murderers.
is politics. This is politics, bro. I better wrap it up at there. Till we do have these conversations again. I'm so grateful that you've listened to us. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.